Do you want to know why MonaV works?
Yes. Yeah. Why not?
If I tell you why MonaV works, what I'm also giving you is keys to a long life, if you're willing to embrace that. And are you up for listening to this? It's not very long, but it is going to involve a little bit of an explanation. Now, some of you have heard this before. I've recognized a few of you in past meetings. Adam, if you'll bring my whiteboard up, because I want to explain one phenomenon. I always travel with my whiteboard. Let me give you a little bit of a background. I'm a former firefighter paramedic from San Diego. I was a paramedic for 15 years, and I finally realized that reactive medicine, that is reacting to an emergency, was not the way to deal with health. So I went back to school and became a teacher and a counselor. Well, I'm a wellness counselor. Even people that I work with in cancer, I do not consider a doctor-patient relationship because I don't heal anybody. I don't heal anybody any more than MonaV heals. What MonaV is doing, though, is creating a ability of the body to go back to nature and heal itself. So, what I wanted to do is show you how life works in one easy lesson. I learned this actually in the fire academy, which is really a weird place to pick this up. It wasn't in medical school. This is the triangle of life, actually. It's also the fire triangle. You are mostly water. You're water with dirt in it. That's basically what you're composed of. But you're also made of carbon. And this is the secret of life. This is also why we're aging. This is also why we get diseases. If you understand this principle, you have total control over your destiny and health. In order to have a fire, you have to have oxygen, you have to have heat, and you have to have a fuel. On Earth, the only fuel we ever deal with is carbon. Whether it's the fireplace, the barbecue, the car, or our bodies. All we do is burn carbon molecules. We get oxygen, obviously, from our air, and the heat, interesting enough, the reason you're 98.6 is because your cells are burning carbon 24/7. Now, here's the problem. When you burn carbon, what do you give off?
Smoke.
You give off smoke. You give off smoke and you give off carbon that is real hungry for oxygen, and it goes around and steals it, and that's CO2. Now, smoke, whether it's in your fireplace, or your house is burning down, or it's the barbecue, is toxic. The smoke that you create in your cells is toxic, and it will age you very fast, unless you interfere with that. And I'll get to MonaV in a minute. If you can interfere with the smoke, this is a human cell, and there's a little place in the cell that burns carbon, or a calorie. If you can interfere with the smoke coming off the trillions and trillions of cells burning day and night, you can slow down your aging to a snail's pace, like the Okinawans. The Okinawans are the longest living people on the planet. The Okinawans do not get cancer. The Okinawans do not get heart disease. The Okinawans do not get diabetes. And the reason is they oxidize very slow. And they control it primarily by controlling the fuel that they put in their body. MonaV came along and became an epidemic. In 2 years, $1 billion of juice went out into the world. Why? What happened? What did Dr. Carson actually create that day when they introduced MonaV to the marketplace? And why has it become such an epidemic that it also has created a tremendous amount of wealth along the way? The reason is that MonaV is so loaded with antioxidants and anti-inflammatories that it immediately scrubs all the smoke that's being produced by the body and immediately stops and slows down oxidation. Can't do it 100%, but it slows it down, and if you drink MonaV on a regular basis for the rest of your life, it becomes part of your menu, you will have you will have put in your body enough antioxidants to keep from aging in a rapid pace. What it also does, it also allows your T killer cells, which are your immune cells, to arrest any virus, bacteria, fungus, or loose cancer cells. This is why it's such a cool product. There is no other food on the planet that will do this. Remember, Monavie is a whole food. The skins and the seeds are in the juice. I know you get a piece of chunk every once in a while when you take a drink. That's the best kind of food to eat because 90% of all the nutrients in the plant are in the skin and the seeds. Well, that's what you want to eat. Filtered fruit juice that you buy at the store that's clear is just sugar water. And that's why Monavie is working where other fruit juices don't. You're eating a whole food. Let me tell you what happens if a free radical gets inside your cell. It's looking for oxygen. It doesn't care where it gets it. It's going to steal oxygen from somewhere. That free radical comes from the burning process of breaking down carbon. If it enters the cell looking for oxygen and gets into the nucleus, inside the nucleus is a little thing called our DNA. If it hits the DNA, and the DNA switch for regrowth is on the on position, that switch will stay on, and that cell will begin to replicate and replicate and replicate, and what do we call that? Cancer. Cancer. That's the beginning of a tumor. It takes 10 years to build a tumor. We have an epidemic in this country right now. 1 in 2 men is going to get cancer. 1 in 3 women are going to get cancer. For the first time in history, children of this generation are possibly going to die before their parents. It's never happened in the history of the United States before. We have the highest rate of disease in any industrialized nation in the world. Now, what Monavie is doing is it is actually causing the pendulum to swing the other way. We're going from an ignorance about health and nutrition, we're now becoming aware of what's going on, because when you open up a bottle of Monavie and you start getting the kick and you start feeling better and your pains go away and your headaches go away, then you begin to say, nutrition counts. It really does count. And all of a sudden your brain and everything else comes along with this shift in consciousness. This is why it's such a business deal. This is why it's such a powerful business deal. Because you're going into the wellness business and you're going along with that pendulum to swing back the other way. This is the greatest product to come down the pike. I mean, I very reluctantly got involved in it because I thought I would have a conflict of interest. But now I realize the doctors are the ones with the conflict, the MDs are the ones with the conflict of interest when they send you out with prescriptions. This is amazing. I can tell you a whole bunch of stories associated with people who have recovered from serious illnesses. All Monavie does, it doesn't heal, but it interferes with the process of aging. Everything rusts. We are rusting right now. And by the way, we will continue to rust after we die. This is all part of life. From the plants to us, to everything alive is going to age and oxidize and finally pass away. But you were designed by your DNA to last 113 years. Now why they picked 113, I have no idea. But 113 years is what science says is the lifespan of a human being. If you don't get to 100, you have shortchanged yourself on life. And the way you allow yourself to get to 100 and be healthy, that's the secret. Is you monitor the amount of oxidation going on in your body. Remember, the only antioxidants on the planet exist in plants. That's the only place you can get them. So if you're not eating plants, you're not getting your fair share of antioxidants, and you're going to age too fast.